right, this is a review of the Hadean Ukulele bass, Uke bass, U bass. They go by lots of different names. It's an extremely short 20-inch scale bass built around a baritone ukulele, although it does have a wider neck than a baritone ukulele, and as you can see in the video, it's got these thick rubber strings. So it does play exactly the same notes as a bass guitar. It's not an octave higher like some people think. Same notes as a double bass also. I bought this at Rondo Music, a great source for inexpensive instruments, and I paid $125.95 for this. It was on sale. This is the UKB-23C, C for cutaway right here, but it's pretty much like all the other Hadean uke basses out there. So this was my first one. I was expecting a toy, something that wasn't really that usable, and I've been pleasantly surprised. This is a real bass. You can use this on gigs. I've used it on a couple already. I will use it on more. I probably won't use it all the time, but I want that thumpy, funky short scale sound. This is exactly the bass I need. All right, let's talk about the quality. The fit and finish is quite nice. It has these tuners here that seem to do a pretty nice job of keeping it in tune. I'll talk about tuning in a minute. It's got electronics here. It's got a built-in tuner, 3-band active EQ, and when you turn the tuner on, it mutes the output out of the bass, so you don't bother your bandmates while you're tuning. Down here next to the output jack is where the batteries are stored. That little door pops and slides out and holds 2 CR2032 batteries. I'm not sure how long they'll last since I haven't even had this a week yet, but hopefully they'll at least last several months for me. And I don't plan to take this out too much, so I'm not too worried about that. The fretwork is nice. No sharp edges to cut your fingers up on the sides here. And surprisingly, the intonation is really quite excellent on this bass. Let me show you. So I'll play the harmonic at the G string. And now we'll play it at the fret, and it's the same pitch. We'll do the same on the D string, harmonic, fret. That's not exactly the same, but it's really close. That's the A string harmonic, A string fretted, and the E string harmonic fretted. So you can actually play chords on this bass up high, and it's pretty well in tune. It's a good thing because the bridge is not adjustable, so if it did not play in tune, you'd be out of luck. These are the chords to Autumn Leaves in C sharp minor. When I normally play Autumn Leaves on the bass guitar, the melody goes up to a high C. This bass only goes up to the B, so the C is not there. So the intonation is quite good. The action was nice out of the box. It does have a truss rod adjustment right there underneath the neck heel. You can see it there. There's a little Allen wrench that was shipped with the bass, so you can adjust that. The strings are Aquila Thunder Black strings, so good quality strings. Now, if you've never played one of these, like I had not, the strings are quite sticky and rolly. So I found that it works really well to use a very light touch. The harder you pull on them, the harder it gets to play. So I'm just barely brushing across the tops of the strings right now to do this. If you try to bend a note, the string just rolls across the fret. So that takes a little getting used to. I was able to use it on a gig, and I could hear a little vibrato, but I don't hear much now coming out of it. Tuning this bass, I find pretty frustrating. When I first started tuning it, I would turn the tuning machine and the pitch wouldn't change, and then I realized what you have to do is after you turn the tuning machine, you grab the string and lift it up so that the tension between on both sides of the nut can equalize. And then you find it gets in tune pretty fast. The tuner is excellent on the G, D, and A strings, but I would say it's useless on the E string. I have pretty much tuned the E string by ear every time I've done this. You can try harmonics, but the problem is the E string, the harmonic is almost not there. It's so thick and rubbery. So that's everything about the quality and the playability. I really do find it very fun to play. You can see as I'm talking to you, I can't even keep my fingers off of it. So I'm going to play a couple of clips for you. The first one, this was on a gig I played the night after I got the bass. So I got it in the mail on a Wednesday night, and I went out on a Thursday night and played a gig at a small jazz club with a 4-piece group. It was a keyboard, drums, a singer, and acoustic guitar player, and then me on this. So the first song was actually a Western swing song, a country song called I Hear You Talkin'. I'll play that one first, and as you listen to it, I want you to know the bass was not recorded direct. I just had the bass going through a Fender Rumble 500 amp, and everything you hear is what the cell phone audio picked up. So, I Hear You Talking, a short clip of that.
I hear you talking, yes, I do, but you're talking, well, it don't ring true. I am listening politely too, but I don't believe a word you say. I hear you talking, you're telling lies, I see them in those great big eyes. I hear you talking wise, but I don't believe a word you say. You say that I'm your honey love, you say I'm all you're thinking of, but I hear you talking love, with you ain't been fooling me. I hear you talking, yes I do, but you're talking, but it don't ring true. I am listening politely too, but I don't believe a word you say.
Okay, that was I Hear You Talking. The bass sounded a lot more like a bass guitar to me in that clip than a lot of U-bass samples I hear, but I did realize after the fact I had the bright switch turned on the amp and I hadn't realized, so that probably contributed to that. Okay, one more clip. This one is Ain't Misbehavin', same group, except I think the keyboard player had switched over to trumpet on this one. Or maybe the other way around, maybe trumpet on the first song. And it starts in the middle of the bass solo, and I wanted you to see that because I actually did go all the way up to the top B on this bass in that solo, and this cutaway really is very useful. If you have the opportunity to buy one of these and you plan to do any soloing at all, I would highly recommend getting the cutaway model. Okay, so a short snippet of Ain't Misbehavin'. Here we go. so that was Ain't Misbehavin'. Hope you liked the clips, and you can see that the bass really does work out in a gig setting quite well. Okay, now let's talk about the EQ. I'm going to play a little bit with all three knobs of the EQ perfectly flat. So that's what this sounds like. That's flat. Let's go ahead and turn up the bass, as I think most people probably do on these, and turn down the treble. The knobs do have a center detent for them, so you can find the middle quite easily. So this is with the bass turned up, treble turned down. All right. Let's talk about any complaints I have about this bass now. I already told you I thought the quality was really quite good, especially for a $125 instrument. I find that the string balance, volume-wise, is really good when it's acoustic, when it's not plugged in. The volume's even across the strings. Through the pickup, though, I find the D string quite a bit louder than the G string. I'm trying to play these with the same pluck strength, I guess you'd say, for each one. And I think you can hear the A strings, D strings quite a bit louder. The A string is also quite loud, and the E string is, it's quite flabby on these instruments. I think it's nice to have it, and you can hear on the recordings that I did use it, but I think I find that I naturally kind of shy away from the E string when I'm playing this, just because it's not quite as full as the other strings. So I don't know if the collar basses have better balance volume-wise between the strings. That's really my only real complaint about this. Overall, if you're looking for a uke bass, I think you really can't go wrong with the Hadean. Quality is really quite decent. The sound is good. They're fun to play. And like I said, this is a real bass. It's not a toy. Hope you enjoyed the video.